Imagine this, a small, rough-skinned lemon. Nothing special at first glance, but in Japan, it can sell for $15 each. And in the US, you might have to pay up to $30 for a single fruit. $30, the price of a whole bag of lemons at Walmart. And this is yuzu, one of the most valuable and expensive citrus fruits in the world. Sounds unbelievable, right? It's just a fruit, yet in Japan, it's treated like a treasure of fine dining. So why is yuzu so expensive? Let's find out with Why So Expensive and uncover the story of yuzu, the fruit often called the lemon of the elite. Yuzu, a citrus fruit that comes from East Asia. It's small, rough on the outside, sometimes greenish-yellow, sometimes golden bright, looking like a mix between a lemon and a mandarin. But don't let its humble look fool you. In Japan, yuzu is considered the soul of fine dining. It's the key to the famous ponzu sauce. It shows up in cocktails, sodas, and fancy desserts. And its oils are even prized in luxury perfumes and skincare. Here's the part most people don't know. A yuzu tree takes 10 to 15 years before it produces fruit. That's longer than it takes to raise a child to high school age. Would you invest an entire decade just to harvest a handful of lemons? And that's only the beginning of why yuzu comes with such an unbelievably high price tag. Harsh growing conditions. Yuzu can't grow just anywhere. It only thrives in places with cold winters and warm summers. That's why only a few regions in the world are known as the heartland of yuzu. In Japan, Kochi Prefecture produces more than half the country's supply. Outside Japan, only tiny amounts are grown in South Korea's Gohung and Wando, and in parts of China. And if you want to grow yuzu from seed, be prepared to wait 10 to 15 years before you see your first fruit. Lemons or oranges, they only take 3 to 5 years. Growing yuzu is like placing a decade-long bet with huge risks and no guarantee. Low yield and dangerous harvest. Even when a yuzu tree finally produces fruit, the job isn't easy. The branches are covered in sharp thorns, nearly as long as half your finger, sharp like needles. Farmers wear thick gloves and move slowly, carefully. One wrong move, and the thorns can pierce through or scratch the fruit's skin, damaging the precious oils that make yuzu so valuable. Each harvest is small, making every single yuzu feel like a rare, priceless gift. The real value, aroma over juice. Unlike lemons, you can't squeeze much juice from yuzu. Inside, it's mostly seeds. The real treasure lies in its bumpy skin, packed with aromatic oils. The scent is unlike anything else. A little grapefruit, a little lemon, and a delicate hint of flowers. It's a fragrance so complex that no other citrus fruit can compare. That's why Michelin star chefs and world-class bartenders chase after yuzu. They're not just buying a fruit, they're buying a flavor experience that elevates their dishes and drinks. In Japan, ponzu sauce wouldn't be complete without yuzu. Yuzu kosho, a mix of yuzu peel, chili, and salt, is considered a luxury seasoning. In South Korea, yuzu cha, or yuzu honey tea, has been a traditional remedy for colds for centuries. And in Japan, people even bathe with whole yuzu fruits in hot water during winter, a tradition believed to bring health and good luck. The fragrance of yuzu goes far beyond food. Its oils are used in high-end perfumes, bath products, and skincare, not just for their effect, but for the feeling they create. Relaxing, luxurious, unforgettable. With all of this, yuzu is more than just a fruit. It's a cultural treasure, carrying with it centuries of tradition, aroma, and value. A surge in global demand. As Japanese cuisine spread around the world, yuzu quickly became the secret ingredient that Michelin star chefs couldn't get enough of. Just a few drops of its juice or a sprinkle of its zest can transform a dish, making it more refined, more elegant, and completely unique. Here's the problem. Supply has always been tiny, but global demand is growing faster than ever. In Japan, a single fresh yuzu in peak season can sell for $10 to $15. In the US and Europe, where imports are tightly restricted, prices can skyrocket to $20 to $30 per fruit, dozens of times more expensive than a regular lemon. With its complex fragrance, part citrus, part floral, part something entirely its own, yuzu has even earned a nickname that sounds both strange and luxurious: the lemon of the elite. Rare, difficult to grow, tied to Michelin star cuisine and the luxury industry, yuzu has moved far beyond just being a fruit. It has become a symbol of refinement and cultural prestige. But in America, there's even a bigger reason why yuzu is so rare, one that has nothing to do with farming. A hidden truth. Most people think yuzu is expensive simply because it's hard to grow and has a one-of-a-kind aroma. But there's another reason, one that's especially true in the United States. In America, importing live yuzu trees is almost completely banned. And the reason isn't trade or money, it's fear. Fear of a devastating plant disease called citrus greening, or huanlongbing. This disease has been called the plague of the citrus world. Once a tree is infected, its leaves turn yellow, the fruit grows small and bitter, and eventually the entire tree dies. Even worse, there's no cure. If HLB were to spread unchecked, it could wipe out the US citrus industry worth tens of billions of dollars in just a few years. Because yuzu originally comes from Asia, where this disease first appeared, it's under some of the strictest agricultural controls in America. So what's the result? Only a few yuzu plants that were brought into the US decades ago, before the ban, are allowed to be grown. Today, they're propagated on a tiny scale, mostly in places like California and Oregon. And that extreme scarcity has turned yuzu in the US into a true luxury, sometimes costing 5 to 10 times more than lemons. One small fruit, carrying with it the fear of disease, strict government bans, and a story that makes yuzu feel even more rare and even more expensive. Every yuzu you hold is the result of years of waiting, of farmers risking their hands against sharp thorns, and of a fragrance so unique no other fruit can match it. The supply is painfully limited. The process is costly and labor-intensive, while demand from chefs, bartenders, and luxury brands keeps rising. But the question still remains, is yuzu truly worth its sky-high price? Or is it simply the effect of scarcity and the power of Japanese cultural prestige? Would you really spend $30 on a single yuzu? Or grab a whole bag of lemons at Walmart instead? Tell us your answer in the comments below. And if this story surprised you, don't forget, hit like to support the channel,
Subscribe to Why So Expensive for more stories about the world's priciest and strangest things. Share this video with your friends and see if they dare pay for a lemon that costs more than gold.